Week 7 of the college football season was nothing short of cinematic. And I said it to start the day over on my Instagram page at JD Pacal. I said, listen, there's a couple of Saturdays now that you can look at the slate and just know it's going to be electric. And yesterday had all the makings of one of those Saturdays that we will bookmark in our brains as one of the elite Saturdays, I believe at least, of our lifetime. Big statement, victim of the moment, maybe a little bit, but where do things stand when it comes to the college football playoff picture? The rankings, they're going to get here when they get here. I could care less about the AP poll. Here are our playoff picture rankings. Full disclaimer here, just so we're on the same page. These are not predictions. These are current rankings. Also, our playoff picture rankings, a little bit unique. The 12th seed, or the 12th team, I suppose, in this whole ranking structure is a G5 team. Why? Because in the new playoff model, there's going to be a G5 team that gets an auto bid. More than likely, they're going to be the 12th seed, so take of that as you will. Our 12th seed, our G5 team, is Boise State. Beat Hawaii 28-7. Ashton Jeanty is a walking stat sheet stuffer. Dude's an absolute animal. Boise State, I think, if they win the Mountain West and their only losses to Oregon by 3 points, how nice is that Oregon loss aging? I know you don't ever want to say it's a good loss, but if you're talking about good losses, Boise State, they got one of them. So Boise State, for us, is 12, and our G5 rep, as of right now, after Week 7, when it comes to our college football playoff picture rankings. Before we move on, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. College football, nothing but college football. No hot takes, no clickbait, no trafficking for traffic's sake. It's just college football by college football sickos for college football sickos, so we appreciate you being subscribed. At number 11 in our playoff picture rankings, hey, welcome to the party. Iowa State, baby, undefeated so far. We on this show freeze ranked wins, meaning if you beat a team that was ranked number 10 in the country, we count that as a top 10 win, even if that team that's number 10 in the country at the time you beat them loses a couple games the next couple of weeks. Like, yes, you treat it with a grain of salt a little bit, but we freeze ranked wins on this show. With that being said, Iowa State got a ranked win to their name. Beat West Virginia, and West Virginia was wearing the coal miner unis, so there was some juice there for West Virginia. Iowa State, I think they are the team that will ultimately win the Big 12, with that being separate from them being 11 right now in our playoff picture rankings. Iowa State, I think, will be that team from the Big 12. And they look like, to me, the best team in the Big 12 right now. If you're saying BYU, I understand, but to me, it's Iowa State. At number 10, I got LSU. And LSU last night, Ole Miss rolls into Death Valley, and Brian Kelly does what Brian Kelly does so far at LSU, wins a night game at home. And Garrett Nussmeier was slinging it. Doesn't matter how it looked. What matters is they got it done. Top 10 win, take down Ole Miss. Don't look now, but LSU, they're going to have a chance now when it comes to these college football playoffs. They're going to have a chance to find their way, backdoor themselves, and heck, who knows, if they keep winning, they might find themselves getting in the front door. But gritty operation over there in Baton Rouge. This team continues to evolve and I think look more and more like a Brian Kelly coach team. So right now, I have them at 10. Believe they're a top 10 team in America. We have them at 10 in our playoff picture rankings. Now at number 9, a team that was off this week, and it's no fault of their own. They find themselves sliding down these rankings. More so, it's other teams that I think are, quite frankly, doing some things to help them move up. Miami is at 9 for me. They're undefeated. I love Cam Ward. I'm a little bit concerned about the way they've looked against Va-Tech and against Cal. Unideal spots. They're going to have a chance, I think, to obviously move up these rankings for us. Need to see some blowouts. Need to see some real juice from them to get back to how they looked that first week of the season beating Florida. But so far, Miami's still a top 10 team in college football. I think they will ultimately win the ACC. But right now, based on what they've done throughout the course of the season, I have them at 9. At number 8, Texas A&M. Do they have a loss? Sure. To a top 10 Notre Dame team the first week of the season. Were they off this week? Also sure. They also, the week before, though, 30-pieced a top 10 Missouri team. You 30-piece a top 10 team, lose to a top 10 team in week 1 of the college football season. Those things, to me, kind of even out. So A&M, absolutely a top 10 team for us. We have them at number 8 in our playoff picture rankings. At 7, I got Bama, and they'll be pushed back. That's fine. They did not look great against South Carolina. A loss to Vanderbilt the week before. They still, I think, have arguably the best win in college football outside of what Oregon did to Ohio State yesterday. Bama beating Georgia should still hold some weight. To me, it does. I have them at 7 in this week's rankings. Clemson at 6. Clemson, man, they're quietly just body-bagging teams. Just like slowly but surely sneaking up on the rest of the college football public. Y'all, they've scored 40-plus points in 4 of their last 5 games. What was the problem again? The offense wasn't explosive, right? That was a thing. Interesting. Very interesting. Clemson rolling right along. They don't play Miami. They won't play Miami, I suppose, until the ACC title game. 11-1 Clemson. If they get to Charlotte with that record, again, Clemson's only losses to Georgia. If they get to the ACC title game with that record, even if they lose the ACC title game, and right now they are our top-ranked team in the ACC, according to our playoff picture rankings, I still think they would get in as an 11-2 ACC runner-up. We'll see if that happens, but Clemson, I think right now, they're rolling. They deserve some credit for that. Penn State at 5 for us in our playoff picture rankings. Hey, man, say what you want about getting down to USC. Say what you want about Drew Aller throwing a few interceptions. You can't argue with that 0 in the loss column. And that's what Penn State has right now, man. They showed something, I think, against USC. Did they get down? Sure. Did they come back? Also, yes. Okay, coming back from double digits. I think you need to put some respect on Penn State's name for getting that done. Drew Aller, even with the interceptions, threw for almost 400 yards, 391 to be exact. Cut out the interceptions. Give me more of a comeback Drew Aller. Okay, we're cooking now. We're cooking. It may not be a finished product and how you want it to look exactly, but you're seeing the pieces there in place in Happy Valley for Penn State to be real, real good. That game against Ohio State now gets a little more intriguing here going into the future. At 4, I got Georgia. The Bama loss is not aging great, and people are going to point to the Bama loss a lot, especially if you're going to pick apart these rankings. I get it. But I think we also would be wise to remember now that Georgia also in the second half of that football game looked like, and I think was, the better team. So the first 2 quarters, as bad as that was, the second 2 quarters I think deserve some credit. So they still also rolled the team that we have number 6 in these college football playoff picture rankings in Clemson. So huge opportunity to reclaim their good name, reclaim their top spot name, or at least be in that conversation when they play Texas next week in Austin. And number 3, I got Ohio State. Ohio State, if you want to drop them further, be my guest. Listen, 1-point road loss to the team that we have in our number 2 spot for these playoff picture rankings. It is what it is. Like, again, that game came down to the final play. Will Howard trying to make a play with his legs, doesn't get down in time. Clock runs out. Everyone clowns him on social media. Like, Ohio State, I think, still has a case to be one of the best teams in college football. I don't think that game decided by 1 point in Autzen should sway you too much on how you feel about the Buckeyes, all right? So Ohio State at 3. As I mentioned, at number 2, you got Oregon. Y'all, they've earned this label, all right? There is no more Oregon could be this, Oregon might be that. Like, there's no more potential talk when it comes to Oregon. They just took down the best roster in college football. I feel pretty confident in saying that. I think Dan Lanning has a how do you like me now kind of win under his belt. This Oregon team's for real. Dylan Gabriel was stretching it downfield. Everyone talked about the check down offense that Bo Nix ran. Dylan Gabriel was slicing and dicing 10 yards a pass. And that defense, they have some issues allowing 31 points, sure, but guess what? Your offense scores 32. It is what it is. That's good. Again, that's the best offense I think Oregon's going to see absolutely in the regular season. We'll see what happens in the college football playoff. But for me, Oregon number 2 this week in our playoff picture rankings. And at number 1, how do you drop Texas, man? Like 34-3 over Oklahoma. Red River could have gotten weird. It didn't. Quinn Ewers throws for less than 200 yards, and you still score 34 points against a top 10 defense in the sport. What happens when Quinn Ewers gets back dialed in? What happens when he looks like he did against Michigan again? Because I think that version of him, I believe, still exists. I think those 2 games probably provided a little bit of rust for him, not being able to be back out there. But keep an eye on Texas, as everyone will be keeping an eye on Texas as they, I believe, will be number one in every other poll. For us, they're number one in our college football playoff picture rankings, and we will learn a lot about both the Longhorns and the Bulldogs coming up this next weekend. So to recap for you, playoff picture rankings after week 7 of the college football season. And our 12th spot, our G5, allotted spot here. We got Boise State. At number 11, welcome to the party, Big 12. Iowa State checks in there at number 11 on our rankings. At number 10, I got LSU, Miami at 9, A&M at 8, Bama at 7. Don't look now. Clemson just hanging out at 6. Penn State at 5. Georgia, say what you want about the Bama loss. They're still one of the best teams in college football. Going to have a chance to prove it next week against Texas. They're at 4. Ohio State at 3. If you want to knock them, be my guest. 1-point loss to a really good Oregon team on the road. Oregon at 2. And Texas at 1. Still, as of right now, the undisputed top team in college football. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at JD Patel. Let me know over there what changes you're making to your playoff picture rankings. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.